and welcome to 60 Minutes. I'm Diane Seward, here with award-winning author TC Boyle.
Thanks for having me, Diane.
First things first, you had a big birthday last month.
Yeah, last month I turned 60. I'm getting kind of old.
Well, happy birthday. So let's get started. Your novel Talk Talk takes place in New York, where you were born. Is there a certain significance to your choice of that particular setting?
Well, for most of the characters I choose, most of them come from New York. Usually I want to keep New York kind of in the center of all my stories. Even though I moved out to LA, the culture to me here is still kind of off. So, because of my perspective, it's just a little weird for me. To me, it kind of adds a little tension to my writing that I kind of enjoy.
Interesting. In both your novels, Tortilla Curtain and Talk Talk, you satire the idea of the American dream. What is your opinion on this idea?
Well, I kind of think the American dream is a little different for everybody. I think it kind of depends on how you approach it. In Talk Talk, the protagonist, Dana, she wants to be accepted into the larger scale of society. But she goes about it her own way, trying to succeed on her own terms. However, Peck, the antagonist, he tries to climb the social ladder by cheating off of her by taking her identity.
How does Tortilla Curtain continue this idea of the American dream?
Well, in Tortilla Curtain, you kind of have the two different sides of the spectrum here. You have Delaney and his family, who is a stereotypical American dream. They have a big house, nice family, great car, but they still kind of have their problems.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have Candido and his wife, who are still looking for the American dream. They struggle just to eat every night. They struggle to have shelter over their head. So I think the American dream is kind of how each person interprets it.
Right. It seems that most of your novels seem to end abruptly, leaving the reader hanging and wanting more. Is there any reason that you go against this, the conventional method of storytelling?
Well, I wouldn't consider myself conventional in any way and don't follow the conventional method of writing. But I think, unfortunately, some readers in the rush to get to the end of the book, they sometimes miss the appropriateness of the ending. Like in Tortilla Curtain, when the whole book is building up about the culture of Delaney and the culture of Candido clashing, and then in the end you have the beautiful moment of Candido saving Delaney's life. I couldn't see a more perfect ending than that. And then when you get Talk Talk, the ending, the subtlety of the ending, this is the first time that our two main characters have talked for the first time, and Dana questions Peck's motives of stealing her identity. What do you want? And the only thing Peck can do is walk away. I don't see how much better of an ending you can have in those books.
Go. So is there a difference in your approach to writing a short story or a novel? How do you determine whether an idea will make a novel or a short story?
Well, although as an author it's my profession, but coming up with stories is my life. Like when I sit down to write a story, I don't distinguish between one or the other. I just pile one sardonic block on top of another until I get a story.
Right. Okay. So some of your stories are based on controversial issues such as abortion or immigration. Do you try to send a political message through any of your works?
When I cover kind of the controversial issue, the actual story is almost like my stance on it. Like I work out how I feel on the issue through my story. It evolves with the characters, with the movement of the story. So that's how I do have a specific stance on each issue, but I'm not waving any white flags to call these out specifically.
Talk Talk is considered your first thriller novel, but you don't like that title. Why not?
Well, whenever I think of thriller, I think of a book that only focuses on one idea, just the thrill of the book, the plot. Well, in my books, I think there's another level on it, and I think that also my other books are just as thrilling, and they're not called thrillers.
Right. You also write many short stories. In your compilation After the Plague, is there anything you try to portray to your readers?
Usually in everything I write, novel, short story, whatever, I try and find a balance between satirical impulses and sentimentality. So that's what I try and do in After the Plague. in Killing Babies, I try to satirize the issue of abortion, but I also want to explain the seriousness of it too. Also, in My First Love, I try and portray the quiet power of passion in this, in how it feels like to be in love for the first time. So I just try and find that delicate balance between the two.
If you had to choose, which of your short stories is your favorite?
If I had to choose,
If you had to choose.
it's like choosing between children. Okay. If I had to choose, I would probably pick the short story She Wasn't Soft it's in After the Plague. I just had so much fun writing it, and it was so funny. Even if I read it now, I still find it as one of my hilarious pieces.
Nice. So unfortunately, we're all out of time now, but thank you so much, TC, for coming.
Thanks again for having me, Diane.
So this is Diane Sawyer with 60 Minutes. So I'll see you guys next week. Good night.